I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, December the 22nd, 2014. A Palestinian man was arrested today for trying to stab an IDF soldier. The incident occurred at the Nitzanei Oz checkpoint near Netanya in central Israel. The Palestinian, said to be from the Arab town of Tulkarem, pulled out a knife at the crossing and was subdued by soldiers at the scene. IDF spokesman Peter Lerner said the assailant was detained on the spot for further questioning, and there were no injuries. IDF forces also arrested 8 Palestinian security suspects overnight in the West Bank, including a member of Hamas. And Israel's Air Force targeted a cement factory in Gaza on Saturday after a rocket was fired from the area into Israel on Friday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the factory that was hit and destroyed by the Air Force was providing cement used to rebuild the Hamas terror tunnels that the IDF had hit during Operation Protective Edge, and that Israel would not ignore even one rocket being fired. Speaking at a Hanukkah candle-lighting ceremony at the Western Wall Saturday night, Netanyahu said Hamas bears the responsibility for any escalation, adding, "We will safeguard Israel's security." Israeli authorities indicted an IDF soldier for allegedly helping American fugitive Adam Everett Livix with his plans to attack holy Muslim sites in Israel. Livix was indicted by Israeli authorities earlier this month and was found to be in possession of illegal arms from the IDF. The IDF soldier is accused of providing Livix with those weapons. The soldier, whose name is not being released, is reportedly an American who had come to Israel to serve in the IDF and was living with Livix. He is suspected of taking weapons and explosives from the army and selling them to Livix, knowing his intentions. The IDF soldier denies the charges, saying he did not know what Livix's plans were and that Livix stole the items from him. U.S. President Barack Obama signed the 2014 United States-Israel Strategic Partnership Act into law. The legislation unanimously had passed in both the House and the Senate. It declares Israel a, quote, major strategic partner of the U.S. And in addition to security and defense cooperation, it also includes cooperation in the areas of trade, energy, water, agriculture, and alternative fuel technologies. Upon signing the law, Obama said it reaffirms the unshakable commitment of the U.S. to Israel's future. He said this bipartisan piece of legislation reflects the importance placed by my administration on strengthening and deepening U.S.-Israel bilateral cooperation and ties. Over 200 immigrants from Ukraine landed in Israel today. The flight was sponsored by the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews under the Fellowship Aaliyah program, in conjunction with Israel's Ministry of Immigration and Absorption, and in cooperation with the Jewish Agency, the Global Ezra Movement, and Nativ. The New Olim were welcomed by IFCJ founder and president Rabbi Yechiel Eckstein, chairman of the Jewish Agency Natan Sharansky, Israel's Minister of Immigration and Absorption Sofa Landwehr, and others. A second flight of Olim from Ukraine is scheduled to arrive in Israel on December the 30th. And taking a look at some entertainment news now, the Israeli film Get, The Trial of Vivian Amsalem, will not be among the nominees for an Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film this year. On Friday, the long list of possible contenders was narrowed down to just 9, which will be cut once more to 5 possibles before the Oscars on February the 22nd. Get, however, is among the nominees for Best Foreign Film at the Golden Globe Awards, which aired January the 11th. And a film that won an Oscar in 2000 for Best Documentary Feature has been chosen for permanent preservation in the Library of Congress by the National Film Registry. Into the Arms of Strangers, Stories of the Kindertransport, documents the rescue of over 10,000 children, most of them Jewish, from Nazi Germany, Austria, and Czechoslovakia to England, just before the outbreak of World War II. Each year, the National Film Registry adds 25 films deemed to be, quote, historically, culturally, and aesthetically significant to preserve for future generations. Kindertransport director Mark Jonathan Harris said, "I know that those survivors who are still alive will be gratified that their wrenching stories will be preserved for generations to come, and that others may be inspired by the courage and resilience they displayed in the face of harrowing circumstances." And turning to our programming for tonight, Monday, December the 22nd, the 7th night of Hanukkah, we continue with our exclusive coverage of the 2014 Saban Forum. At 7:30, remarks from U.S. Vice President Joe Biden, who outlines the U.S. commitment to Israel. And then at 8 o'clock, former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton shares her perspective on issues relating to the Middle East with Chaim Saban, the host of the forum. Followed at 9 o'clock by L'Chaim, where Mark Golub sits down with Ari Shavit, author of the controversial Personal History of Israel, My Promised Land. And then at 10 o'clock, more from the Saban Forum with Isaac Herzog, the new leader of Israel's opposition Labor Party, as he sits down with journalist Jeffrey Goldberg of The Atlantic. That's tonight on JBS and jbstv.org. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, December 22nd, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader. Chag Sameach.